Hello. Today's letter comes to us from Big Fan, who writes, Dear Brother Ron, is God's way God is in control, and Satan's way is we are in control? Well, dear Big Fan, when we decide that we're smarter than God and choose to do things our way instead of His way, bad things often happen. If you want to blame that on Satan, be my guest. I prefer to blame it on man's own stupidity and arrogance. Now, the biblical account of the fall of Adam and Eve would seem to support your theory. God told them not to eat the fruit of the tree, but Satan convinced them that they did not have to listen to God. So, in the book of Genesis, Adam and Eve decide to do what they want and ignore what God wants. Naturally, God is upset about this and throws them out of the garden. Satan wins by convincing man to defy God's control. Personally, I believe we are capable of devising the most hideous evils without any help from a little red demon with a pitchfork. The Bible also tells us that Satan cannot do anything without God's approval. In the first chapter of the book of Job, we find that Satan cannot harm Job without God's permission. Notice that God forbids Satan from harming Job himself, and Satan has to obey this restriction. We also find in Luke 4, 6, and 7, And the devil said unto Jesus, All this power will I give thee, and the glory of them, for that is delivered unto me, and to whomsoever I will give it, if thou wilt worship me, all shall be thine. Now who do you think delivered that power? It wasn't the churches. It wasn't the politicians. They don't have that power to give. It had to come from God Himself. So once again, we see that Satan only has as much power as God gives him. But even that was not enough to overcome the faith of Jesus, because we find in Luke 4:8, And Jesus answered and said unto him, Get thee behind me, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. So although God had given Satan power over all worldly things, he had no power over Jesus unless Jesus chose to give it to him. It's the same with us. Satan only has as much power as we choose to give him. So as much as we would like to make Satan the fall guy for our human weakness, in the end, we can't really blame some demon for our own shortcomings. Thank you for joining us.